New tonight, Governor Stitt at the State of the State in Broken Arrow. He talked on a variety of topics, including the one we have been trying to get answers on the most, his firings and investigation into the forestry department after the March wildfires. Today, I learned while he will talk at length from the podium, he's not as interested in follow-up questions. Less than a minute into welcoming guests at the State of the State Broken Arrow.
I think really being engaged in what happens in our state and in your community is so important. Knowing the issues, knowing your elected leaders, holding them accountable.
Governor Stitt wants to hold the Oklahoma Forestry Services accountable for what he considers poor response during the March wildfires, but cut me short when I tried to hold him accountable for being on spring break during that time.
We should have had all those fire hoses pointed to fires.
Would you have been more privy to that if you were here?
Next question.
We're halfway through session.
But he did talk candidly about the forestry issue behind the podium. Stitt says resources were untapped and dormant in southeastern Oklahoma.
When I found out that all of our fire trucks and our hoses were not pointing at those fires, I hit the roof like with frustration.
Multiple lawmakers, including former firefighter Representative Stan May, who we interviewed Tuesday, believe he is misinterpreting how fire response works. Stitt fired 3 forestry employees, including the lauded director. This week, he fired the public information officer and another in the top-level administration that we will not name at this time. Multiple sources confirmed to us the last 2 were fired for commenting to the media and on social media. I asked Stitt about that.
Yeah, well, not sure exactly who was terminated or what. It's my understanding there's just been tons of insubordination at the top of forestry.
The PIO is not listed on their website as top administration. I also asked Stitt why he is firing people before an investigation. He responded and added comments on my reporting.
Sometimes you have to cut the head off the snake to actually fix things. And what happens is everybody spins and they go out and say Stitt doesn't like firefighters. And I think you guys are running stuff on your news channel about that. That's simply not true.
It is true we have covered this story extensively and interviewed multiple upset firefighters about his comments. We shared a letter of concern from the Oklahoma State Firefighters Association and heard from lawmakers who want him to give Forestry Director Mark Goller his job back. In the weeks of reporting, there was no indication that anyone other than our governor believes the fire response was bad. Governor Stitt actually accused my colleague and me of spinning this story at 2 different times during the day, despite the fact that we have asked almost every day for a sit-down interview with him, and other stations have been granted that. We have been repeatedly denied. Governor Stitt addressed reporters again this afternoon, including that colleague I'm talking about, 2 News Oklahoma reporter Brody Myers. Continuing our push for answers, he joins us live outside the state capitol. Brody, what did the governor say about the latest sweeping actions?
Well, Aaron, more and more every single day he's releasing more of his thinking about what happened in the wildfires. But with that, he's raising a few more questions also. Recently, Governor Stitt said the Forestry Department used just half the resources at their disposal. He also said forestry misallocated what resources they did use. Since then, as you know, he fired the state forester and some others. Now, typically when natural disasters strike, there is a command center for government leaders. And I asked him about that command center straight up.
Were you at a command center, during all this and monitoring the resources that you say weren't used by forestry?
Yes, I was at the command center. And as far as monitoring the stuff, you assume that these people are doing their jobs. So we have the emergency management person is Annie Vest, and so she does a great job for the states.
Governor accused the Forestry Department of a lack of communication in the wake of the wildfires, and he indicated that communication might have been lacking during the wildfires. And even before all these fires broke out, Oklahomans were wondering, why did Governor Stitt not enact a burn ban? Well, he was asked about that again today. I'll have his answer coming up tonight at 6. In Oklahoma City, Brody Myers, 2 News, Oklahoma.
Brody, thank you. Here at 2 News, we are dedicated to holding our state leaders accountable. This latest saga with the governor broke when I asked him about the first firing 2 weeks ago. We will continue to fight for answers.